Hey, so Meek Mill last night released a song called What's Free. And on that song, Jay-Z has a verse. And in that verse, there's a reference to Kanye. As with most things involving Kanye, this created controversy. You can see the line, "No red hat, don't Michael and Prince me and Ye. They separate you when you got Michael and Prince's DNA." Now, within 12 hours of that verse going out, the interpretations of it were varied. And you can see in the media, there was a lot of negative interpretations going on. Jay-Z goes after Kanye West for Trump support. Jay-Z calls out Kanye West's red hat. No red hat, Jay-Z takes on Trump supporting Kanye. That conversation extended to social media, where there were many people saying, like, I can't believe Jay dissed Kanye like this, or good on Jay for dissing Kanye or calling him out. While there were people saying, like, hold on. Jay-Z isn't dissing Kanye, he's showing solidarity. This is Jay saying that, like, you can't do to me and Ye what people tried to do to Mike and Prince and create a rivalry there. Like, we're both great, we're both legends, shut the fuck up. And that debate was so intense that for the first time in over a year, Jay took to Twitter and tweeted out, "The line clearly meant don't pit me against my brothers, no matter what our differences are, red hat. Now go pick up Meek album, Drake and Meek on there together." I do want to point out that it's an album where Drake and Meek, who had a really famous beef, what was that, 2017, 2016, finally make amends. And we see them having patched up what was wrong between them. It would be wild for Jay to go on an album that is peaceful and to take shots at Kanye. It makes way more sense that he'd be like, those dudes patch things up. Like, yeah, I'm going to show some support for Kanye because Kanye is my brother and we need that. But that didn't stop people from having that initial speculation. And in the wake of Jay tweeting this out, I saw a lot of people saying, how could anybody have interpreted that as a diss? Anybody that interpreted that way, like, isn't a real stan or doesn't know how to read lyrics or is just dumb. Personally, when I first read the lines, I took it as very positive. But when I started reading into them, I was thrown because there's clearly a way to interpret this as negative. And if you watch the channel or listen to the podcast, I think you know that I'm somebody that tends to really look at both sides of the conversation. And that helps a lot with Kanye because when so many people are taking what Kanye said in the worst way possible, a lot of what I do is just show how it could be interpreted in a positive way or how it's not as bad as other people are making it seem and could actually be better than what people are making it seem. In this case, I just feel inclined to point out the ways in which this could be read negative and why it might not be people just being dumb, but is a problem with the writing itself. And maybe not necessarily a problem, but just how it's written can lend itself to a negative interpretation. The example I like to use is glass half full or glass half empty. Like, there's nothing wrong with a glass of water being halfway filled, right? Just like there's nothing inherently wrong with how Jay-Z wrote those lines, but the perspective people have of that changes based on what information they have, what biases they have. So popularly, we like to say that somebody that describes this as half full has a positive outlook. Somebody that describes it as half empty has a negative outlook on the world. That one moment of insight describes their character, which probably too simplistic, but there's some truth to that. Same thing kind of happens here with how this is constructed. That there's a way that you could interpret some of the lines as negative, but those same lines as positive. So let me explain that. When Jay says no red hat, you could take him very straightforward in saying, I don't have a red hat, which automatically starts to place him in contrast to somebody that does. And we know that Kanye did have the red hat, the MAGA hat. So that would seem to put them already in two different categories. Kanye is somebody with the hat, Jay-Z is somebody without. So when he follows that up by saying, don't Michael and Prince me and Ye, we tend to put Michael and Prince in the same category as legends. But if he already started this line by saying, you can't put me and Kanye in the same category because he has the hat and I don't, then you obviously can't put me and him on the same level as you would Michael and Prince. Or you can't put us together the way that you would put Michael and Prince because we're separate. That's just how it is. And that notion gets reinforced with the next line. They separate you when you got Michael and Prince's DNA. You is a strange word because you can be both singular and plural, right? So you are a good friend can refer to just one person standing there, or you are a good friend, or you are good friends can refer to multiple people. Future simple, you will call me tomorrow. That can refer to a group of people. Like if you're in a meeting and you're saying to like the 5 people that represent some company, hey, you'll call me tomorrow, right? You're not saying that to one individual, but to the whole collective. But it also has that singular interpretation. And often we use the singular interpretation with the generic you. Brushing your teeth is healthy, you know? What's another famous one? Like, you shoot for the moon so you can land among the stars. You only make the shots that you attempt. Those general kind of aphoristic phrases. But somebody can use an aphorism like that in the second person referring to themselves. Like somebody could go up to Kanye and be like, Kanye, how did you win the love of Kim Kardashian? And Kanye could just say, you got to be persistent. And even though he's using the second person there, he's using it in a way to demonstrate what he did. He was persistent with Kim, and that's how he won her over. Or somebody could ask Kanye, you know, how are you so successful? And his response could be, you never lose confidence. And if you never lose confidence, no one can stop you. And that would refer to what he did. He never lost confidence. So with that idea of the generic you in mind, somebody could read, they separate you when you got Michael and Prince's DNA, as being Jay essentially saying, I've been elevated, I've been esteemed, I've been given this legendary status that puts me in a different category from all of my peers. The media's done this, the public does this, everyone's done this. They've separated me because I've got Michael and Prince's DNA. That's how you could read that as more of a diss at Kanye. We're different because he had the hat and I didn't. And then I'm also different because I have the DNA of Michael and Prince, the assumption being that Kanye does not. But that all changes if you understand that no cap is slang, and no cap can mean no lie. So how do I look? No cap, you look a mess. You know, did you like the album? No cap, I love the album. So starting off no red hat, that's essentially Jay saying in his clever Jay-Z way, like, no cap, no lie, I'm not lying. I'm being very serious. Don't Michael and Prince me and Ye. And in this case, it's that people were always kind of manufacturing rivalries between Michael and Prince as they were contemporaries. Both had this legendary status and appeal, and people, especially the media, would like to pit the two against each other in that way. So he's saying, don't do that to me and Kanye. And then goes on to say that everybody tries to do that to us because we've got Michael and Prince's DNA. So the you in the second interpretation is collective, plural, rather than the singular. They separate you when you got Michael and Prince's DNA. So he's referring to you as me and Kanye. Like, that's the reason why they do this to us, because we're both legends. We have this legendary DNA. It's essentially writing the line, they separate us because we have Prince's DNA. If he had written it like that, there wouldn't have been any confusion about the line whatsoever, because the yous would have been replaced by us and we. And those are never singular. They're always plural. But because the you can be singular or plural, there are people that will inherently, because of whatever perception and bias, view the you the same way they'd view a glass of water that's half filled, as either half empty or half full. And they do that with that then, as it either being singular, which makes that more braggadocio and putting him at a distance from Kanye, or collective, plural, which puts that in union with Kanye. So the use of you is really why there's this whole misinterpretation of the line, which I don't think is inherently on people being dumb or wrong when they try to read the lines, but is more just on the fact that the lines are vague. And what follows in the verse is Jay-Z continuing to show ways that he's separate from other people, which, you know, if you're already having that negative perception of it, that he's saying, I'm different than Kanye, it would look like he's going on to say, I'm different than everyone, right? Because I'm Jay-Z. And that kind of braggadocio is classic Jay-Z. I mean, he has so many amazing lines about how like grand he is compared to everybody else. I might buy the mall to show people how much more I have in store. Like, I'm greater than you all. You can suck my balls through my drawers. Whatever that from So Appalled is, my poor rendition of it. But Jay's known for that kind of I'm up here, you're down here rapping. So him setting that context between him and Kanye, I don't think would shock people. But at the same time, no. At the same time, it's easy to view it as like, hey, me and Kanye are together on this, we're united. And now moving on, I want to say a fuck you to Trump, because it seems like a lot of this song is maybe a fuck you to Trump. So I just wanted to get into that and show why people that viewed this initially as negative may not have been as crazy as maybe people thought. And just saying that I'm happy that Jay's showing this kind of outright support for Kanye. You know, people thought that there were disses on Kill Jay-Z, which was another track that had a lot of debate whether or not it was a diss or not. I still kind of feel like it is, especially because of the perceived disses on La La Land. And then on the Jay-Z Beyonce album, it seemed like there were disses on a few tracks on there. Referencing Kanye not going to the wedding, you know, don't throw stones when you're in a glass house, which refers back to Why I Love You, and seemed to take a shot there, as that was on the final track of Jay and Beyonce's album, the same way Why I Love You, and the line that Kanye says on there is the last track. So with there having been two back-to-back projects where Jay also seemed to have made veiled disses at Kanye, I can see why people may have thought that was going on here. But very, very, very happy that we can move past that and say that those two are in a much better spot, that Jay's actively supporting Kanye, and that, you know, we're hopefully on the mend with that relationship and Watch the Throne 2 on the way. That's fingers crossed for all of that. Thanks for watching, and you know, the Best Kanye West Song Tournament Deathmatch Extreme starts tonight, so I'll have a video on that later today. It'll start midnight Eastern Time, December 1st. If you're watching this and it's not December 1st or November 30th when I'm recording this, the Best Kanye West Song Tournament Deathmatch Extreme 3000 might be going on. It goes from December 1st to the 25th. Check us out on Twitter at Kanye Podcast to participate. Have a nice day.